Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're slicing through all the detailed forecasts.
Yeah, getting straight to the point.
Exactly. We want to give you the most vital insights, maybe some surprising facts,
Right.
about what's really happening on our planet.
Yeah.
Specifically, right now, June 26th and 27th, 2025.
We're using that global weather analysis report as our base.
Right. Our mission is to take that dense report and, distill it. Just what you need to know without getting bogged down.
And looking beyond just the air around us.
Yeah, we're talking oceans, land, even touching on space weather. It's all connected.
It really is. And the data makes these connections, these broader trends, pretty clear, not just day-to-day stuff.
Okay, let's jump straight in then.
Yeah.
Looking at this analysis, what's the first thing that hits you? The big overarching trend. This new normal everyone talks about.
Oh, without a doubt, it's the heat. Just pervasive heat.
Okay.
If you look at the whole May to July period for 2025, you see widespread above normal temperatures, pretty much across all land areas.
And that lines up with the oceans.
Absolutely. Consistent with unusually warm sea surface temperatures. And this isn't just a blip. It feels like a persistent trend now reflecting, ongoing climate change.
I mean, 2023, 2024.
Yeah.
They were the warmest on record, right?
They were, and 2025 is shaping up to potentially join them.
So are we seeing specific, really intense examples of this heat right now?
We are. Greece, for example, they're in their first major heat wave of the summer.
How bad is it?
It's pretty brutal. Temperatures getting above 42 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
Yeah, and locally, that's 10, maybe 12 degrees Celsius higher than average for this time of year. It's causing extreme heat stress, and that's likely to stick around until about June 28th.
Okay, so Greece is baking. Is that just a Mediterranean thing, or is this pattern showing up elsewhere? Does it back up that new normal idea?
Unfortunately, yeah, it's not isolated. The central and eastern U.S. are also really feeling it. An expansive, dangerous heat wave, and it's early in the season, too.
How far above average are we talking there?
Some states are seeing temperatures 20 to 25 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. Daytime highs hitting 95, even 100 degrees Fahrenheit in major cities.
Oof. But you mentioned something before we started about the overnight temperatures being key. The report highlights that too. Why is that so critical?
Right, absolutely. Because the overnight lows aren't dropping enough. They're staying 15 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit above average, often in the 75 to 85 range.
Meaning no relief.
Exactly. Your body just doesn't get that chance to cool down and recover from the daytime heat. That significantly bumps up the health risks.
And there's a direct climate change link being made here, isn't there?
Yes, and this is where it gets really interesting. Climate Central did an analysis. They found human-caused climate change made this specific U.S. heat event at least 3 times more likely.
3 times? For how many people?
For nearly half the U.S. population, that's 174 million people. And in some spots, it's what they call a climate shift index level 5.
Level 5, what does that mean?
That's their highest level. It means human activity made the event at least 5 times more likely. We're seeing these real-time attributions now, quantifying the impact.
Okay, so heat is obviously a huge story. But it can't be the only thing happening. What else should listeners know about? Maybe, water? Precipitation.
Good pivot. Because we're seeing kind of a precipitation paradox in the U.S. right now.
A paradox? How so?
Well, some areas, like the southern regions, the Carolinas, they're actually forecast to get well above average rainfall, which is good news for drought there. Some improvement expected.
Okay.
But then other places, the Pacific Northwest, northern plains, parts of California, they're likely staying drier. Drought could persist there or even develop. So very different stories playing out.
Creates very different challenges, region by region. And amidst all that, are we seeing storm activity, thunderstorms?
We are. There's a slight risk of severe thunderstorms, mainly across northern Iowa and southwest Wisconsin.
What kind of threats?
Potential for isolated tornadoes, some wind damage, maybe hail, and you could see some isolated wind damage pop up across the eastern plains, Ohio Valley, mid-Atlantic, southeast, and even Montana.
Right. So moving from land to the oceans, the Atlantic hurricane season, the forecast looks pretty active.
It does, yes. The forecast is calling for 13 to 19 named storms.
And hurricanes.
6 to 10 hurricanes within that.
Yeah.
And the main driver, Anomalously warm ocean temperatures.
Even without a strong El Niño or La Niña, because we're expecting neutral conditions, right?
Exactly. We're expecting ENSO neutral conditions. So what's really insightful here is how the influence of climate change on those ocean temperatures seems to be overriding other factors that might normally keep the season a bit calmer. The ocean heat is just that dominant.
It really underscores how these larger forces are amplifying risks. But, we tend to focus on weather above us. What about below us? Or even way out there? Volcanoes. Space.
Yeah, exactly. It's easy to forget those other powerful systems. Volcanically, things are pretty dynamic globally. Kilauea in Hawaii is still putting on quite a show.
What's happening there?
Active lava fountaining, reaching over 1,000 feet. And it's pumping out huge amounts of volcanic gas, something like 50,000 tons of sulfur dioxide per day.
That's incredible.
It is. And that's just one example. We're seeing activity elsewhere too. Liwatobi Laki-Laki in Indonesia, Sakurajima in Japan, ash plumes, some evacuations. It's a constant reminder of Earth's internal engine.
Okay, and then looking even further out, space weather.
Right. We're actually expecting a moderate geomagnetic storm, a G2 level event,
Caused by?
a high-speed solar wind stream hitting us. This could mean you might see auroras a bit further south than usual at those northern latitudes.
Any impact on us down here?
Yeah, there's a chance of minor to moderate radio blackouts, mostly affecting high frequencies. It just raises that question, doesn't it? How often do we really consider how space weather affects our daily lives? It's another layer.
So, bringing it all together, this intense heat, the contrasting rainfall, active oceans, the rumbling Earth, even solar storms. What's the big takeaway here? How do these connect?
Well, they're not really separate events, are they? They're all threads in this incredibly complex global system. What this report really drives home is how these extremes are often symptoms of these interconnected systems.
Often amplified by climate change.
Yes, often amplified by the underlying changes in our climate. So the key takeaway, I think, for all of us is just how vital robust warning systems are. Integrated, multi-hazard warnings.
Like that WMO Early Warnings for All initiative.
Exactly like that. And enhancing our preparedness. Because these aren't just isolated threats anymore.
So here's a final thought for you listening. In a world where extreme seems to be shifting towards the new normal, how does understanding these connections, heat, water, earth, space, change how you think about your own local environment and maybe your own preparedness? Something to chew on after this deep dive.